dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Well, it's Monday, guys, and, well, Christmas is over, unfortunately. I'm Dakota Makris. It's almost 5 o'clock. Thank you so much for waking up with us. Let's head over to Brandon for a look at our forecast this morning. And, Brandon, it's still kind of cold out there this morning.
Why would you say that?
Say what? Christmas is over?
Why would you say, shh, quiet. It's the worst day of the year for Christmas lovers like me, but there is some hope.
Yeah.
Today is the federal observation of Christmas, and banks and the post office will be closed. So it's still Christmas, okay?
Whatever you say, buddy.
That's right. That's right. But it is still cold out there.
Yeah.
And I will agree with you on that. Let's take a look at our forecast. As we head out the door this morning, we're going to continue to see, again, a few clouds crawling across the region this morning. They've been slowly increasing overnight. And yes, you see some blue back out to our west. But by the time that reaches us, I think it's going to be starting to fizzle out. Temperatures in the single digits this morning. Now, I had a comment on my Facebook page the other day. Why are we not showing temperatures for Harlan anymore? Well, guess what? The airport sensors are out. I've addressed this with the National Weather Service. They were supposed to check on it. That is Pikeville, that is Harlan, that is Middlesboro, and that is Monticello. That is an airport issue. So if you live in one of those areas where your sensors are out, call your airport because they need to get their sensors back online. It's not us. It's not the Weather Service. 4 degrees in Clintwood's the cold spot this morning. 17 in Prestonsburg, maybe one of the warmer spots, but it's chilly out there again to start your day. If you're working today or if you're having to do anything today, of course, there's a lot of after Christmas sales today. My Black Friday's today. Looking at max warming as you head into the coffee forecast here, so you'll need a little extra plus that this morning if you have to be out. If you don't, well, just stay at the house. Right now, out the door forecast, again, we're going to see some bitter cold this morning, but it'll start to warm up closer to 30 today, and some snowflakes are possible a little bit later on. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. PJM Interconnection, which coordinates electricity wholesales across 13 states, including Kentucky, well, it's urging customers to reduce energy use as much as possible. Our Chandler Wilcox details the hardships power companies are dealing with and how consumers can help.
Power companies are asking you to conserve electricity as cold temperatures continue to freeze the country.
We're actually running short of electricity. If customers conserve, that gives us that margin so that we will have enough to get through the peak times, like the mornings and the evenings.
Power lines may be constructed for tough conditions, but the power stations are struggling.
The power lines are used to managing the flow of electricity, but the power plants aren't used to these sorts of really sub-zero or frigid temperatures.
Lowering your thermostat as much as comfortably possible is important, but there are other ways to conserve, even on this holiday weekend.
There are certainly people will be cooking, but if you don't have to run your dishwasher and your dryer and your washer all at the same time, that's really helpful.
Bueller says turning off your lights can also conserve a lot of energy, and they feel confident these practices make a difference from past trials.
2,000 megawatts of power disappeared off the grid in conservation in a very short amount of time. So it does work if people can help us out.
Officials are hoping as temperatures start to warm up, consumers can soon return to some form of normalcy at home. In Hazard, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, and some good news, though. Most homes in the mountains continue to have power. Governor Andy Beshear urged Kentuckians to stay home during the holiday weekend to avoid slick road conditions. State emergency management officials have reported road closings and crashes since the Arctic blast hit. Well, the governor says problems were continuing to appear to the point where it was better to just stay home.
We are having dozens upon dozens of accidents across the state, interstates. As soon as we get them cleared, we have another issue somewhere around the state. It's simply not safe to travel right now.
Well, the governor says for people to think about the risk they are taking when traveling on icy roads and consider emergency responders that might have to go away from their families when a crash happens. When slick roads and power outages, a lot of our day-to-day life has been affected by this recent winter weather. Frozen pipes have also been an issue for many across the mountains. Plumber Chris Works says it's important to let your faucets drip when it's cold, saying the money you lose on your water bill is worth the risk of a burst pipe.
And what happens is once it freezes, the liquid expands and over time busts that line. So it's not just an inconvenience. If you get frozen lines, you probably want to get it tended to fairly quickly. The longer they are, the more apt you are to have a burst when they thaw back out, which turns into a lot of damage. And our bill's a lot higher than letting the water drip, I assure you.
Well, he says to leave those faucets dripping until the brunt of the cold weather passes. A water line burst at the Wayne County Public Library during the weekend. The Monticello Fire Department says about 5,000 gallons of water was dumped onto the floor and spread throughout the library. Officials say they lost about 3,000 books to water damage. Emergency responders had to transport flood survivors living in travel trailers in Crockettsville on Friday. At least 8 families were taken to Buckhorn State Park by first responders. Emergency Management Director Jeremy Slinker says utilities had failed in the trailers, but the families are safe now.
All 8 of those families that hadn't already made arrangements arrived safely, checked in. We checked on them this morning. They're doing well. We hope when the temperatures move on, we get their trailers repaired and we get them back to a place of normalcy.
Well, there has not been an update for when those flood survivors will be able to return. Well, thank you so much for getting your Monday morning started with us here on Mountain News this morning. We have more news on the way.